Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tuning in again. So today I've got Josh with me. Now, Josh is a busy father. He's a business owner. He's also involved quite heavily in adult education and further learning. So, Josh, how are we today, mate?
All good, man. So I've got my coffee, I've got my water, I've had my food, and we're good.
Cool. So for you at the moment now, some people that are watching or viewing, Josh has got quite a big following online in the fitness world. He helps a lot of young, aspiring, and just new personal trainers get off the floor when it comes to their business, as well as help people come up with new dynamic ideas when it comes to marketing and as well as further education in that field as well. So kind of word in your groups, which is as close to word on the street as we're going to get nowadays, what kind of feeling are your followers having at the moment? What's going on?
So the biggest thing really was in UK PTs, my Facebook group, there was initially a sense of panic. And that came from the majority of the people being self-employed. Yeah. And they were seeing that all of the employed people were being given 80% of their wages, and they were seeing all these benefits going out, but nothing was really being said about the self-employed or the directors or the business owners. And so I think initially it was panic from a lack of information or a loss of control. Yeah. That was the big thing. And then the thing that I think is amazing, and I think you see it all across the UK at the moment, is how people have been faced with this threat that we've never seen before. Like we have never had anything like this in our lifetimes. No. And people have started to maneuver to make the best out of it. So, like for example, we were driving yesterday. I was dropping my daughter off to my ex's, and they've put bunting across, like streamers across all the roads and stuff, and she hasn't seen that yet, and she was amazed. And I think you've got people like that are doing things to build community spirit and make the best of it and keep people's mood lifted. And then you've got other people like entrepreneurs and fitness business owners that are going fully online, and they're getting new clients. They're busier than ever, and they're maximizing what they can in this time, which I think is one of the most important things to do. So yeah,
pivoting and making the best of a bad situation, which I think moving forward and looking to what the future could be like for you, especially with what you do with your further education, even bite-sized small courses that could be done online are going to be needed, because we're going to have to quickly get people up to speed to do necessary things or certain tasks, like even the petals courses and stuff like that. They're going to be very, very sought after. Are you making any plans to kind of move that way as well?
Yeah, see, one of my businesses is basically an online university for personal trainers, and so for 4 or 5 years we've been doing only online courses, so that was pretty good. But the thing that we're finding is that the governing bodies, like at the top, so like Active IQ, SimSpa, people like that, they don't like the idea of online courses for various reasons. So like they say it's hard to police the quality, and they don't want just anyone to qualify, and it can be cheated basically. Yeah. So I've been rebuilding our e-learning platform for the past 3 months, which was just coincidence really, but now there's a bit more urgency behind it, to make it more robust. So like to put in loads of assessments, loads of quizzes, loads of just learning checks all the way through. So I think, we have moved towards more online courses, and all of our face-to-face courses that we were running, like you come into the classroom X amount of days for X amount of weeks, they've all transitioned to online group classes. So that was quite good. So it just comes back to that kind of maneuverability. But that's something that I built into my businesses from the very beginning, that if we wanted to, let's say for example, we're renting a room in a gym and the gym burnt down, we always have our teaching stuff with us. So I'll show you something now. So we always have, I have my nerd wallet, which, if everything burns down, we just grab the laptop, we just go to a new venue. We're ready to go within 2 hours,
That's amazing. For those people listening on podcast, just describe what you've held up for me there.
So this is a laptop case, but then within the laptop on one side, it's like a zip open pouch. and it's like a James Bond kind of gadget pouch for nerds. So I've got pens, hard drives, my Kindle, all my chargers. I always have like 2 of everything. But it sounds really stupid, but I've been doing a lot of for years and years and years, loads of like survival training, going out into the woods with just a knife and stuff like that, you know, living off the land and stuff. So without sounding like a proper weirdo that lives in a bunker, I've been kind of preparing for this for quite a long time. So
yeah.
You know, a lot of this stuff wasn't really an issue when the coronavirus stuff started. We had food supplies. I've got my survival stuff. Worst case, like it's all good.
So yeah, well, you're a lot more prepared than I was. I think I had a bit of a last-minute dash to the supermarket the day before lockdown, which was the worst time to go. There was just nothing in there. I think I ended up getting some rye bread. I remember I got some rye bread and some tortellini pasta, and that was it. Yeah. And then I think there was some weird cans of something that I've eaten them though. But yeah, that's as far as I got. No, nothing else. Nothing of any help, use whatsoever. Just the most obscure food groups you can think of, which was handy because 2 days later, for those of you that have been watching, I've been doing a funny little recipe cookery show, which is just a bit of fun. And I had like 8 things I could possibly use, and for some reason it came out all right and tasted great. Sometimes it works out all right. So what kind of advice are you giving to the guys in your PT group at the moment, or kind of advice you'd be giving to any kind of business owner right now? Now you've come past the initial panic.
So the biggest thing, this goes for anyone, is to focus on what you can actually control, because there's so many people that focus on, you know, reading Facebook posts and negativity and the media, and they focus on all this stuff that they literally cannot do like a single thing about, and all that's going to do is drive you insane. You know, it's going to be very, very detrimental to your mindset and everything. Secondly is be disciplined with your routine. And that works for me personally. So I have an app called To Do, and it's basically just a tick list. I'll show you. And it's basically, you literally just tick it off. Where is it? Let me show you. So it's got all my to-do items down there.
Yeah.
And because my schedule went a bit out the window because of the baby coming 6 weeks ago, normally my schedule is regimented like 30 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
And like non-negotiable, so like training, eating, sleep, like, you know, everything is in there. But that doesn't work now because obviously I'm working from home and I've got a 6-week-old baby, and I'm trying to support my wife as much as I can with looking after the baby. So what I thought is I'll adapt that slightly, put it on a to-do list instead, and then every time I do something, I'll just tick it off, and I know that day's tasks are done. So, you know, even stuff like shaving every day, I put that on there. I read a book every day, which is the Daily Stoic. Which is,
I recently the Stoic way of thinking. Sorry, I interrupted. Yeah. That made me quite excited there, but carry on. The Daily Stoic, I like that.
So yeah, I'd say focus on what you can control. Really focus on. Well, this is actually kind of a contradictory point. Is obviously I've just said focus on a routine and be disciplined with what you do, but I think it's also about recognizing how you're going to cope in this situation. So I know some people would very easily be able to sit at home and watch Netflix for 12 hours a day, eat and sleep, which is not a bad thing because we're probably never going to get locked down ever again, you know? So if you want to take this time to just do nothing, then if you don't have to be doing anything, then why not, you know? And there's going to be certain, you know, personality types that want to be getting stuff done, want to be doing what X, Y, and Z. But if that's not you, then the other thing I'd say is don't beat yourself up if you're not that person. You know, you see people on Instagram, like, oh yeah, I'm up at R4, I've already done this and that and this. If that's not you, fuck them. Like, if it makes you feel bad, just ignore them. Like, there's no need for it. But I'm not that kind of person, so.
you're the up early and getting a lot done, aren't you? So,
yeah,
which is good.
Because that's the other thing I've been saying to the guys, which is kind of related in the group, is that they've got this they've got this network of whatever they do in their business. So they've got their clients, they've got their existing business model, they've got their finances, they've got everything. And what they need to do at the moment is maximize all the resources they've currently got and build that into a sustainable business model because we don't know how long this is going to last for, the foreseeable future. So, if that is, working on building out your own kind of transformation courses, or if that's writing recipe books, if that's filming YouTube content, I think it's about getting down your priorities and adapting to this as the new normal temporarily. And then if it does carry over as still valuable and still beneficial once we come out of this, then even better. But, I think it's so easy to fall into that negative mindset. I think having a target and goals and everything helps so much. That's definitely what I found anyway.
Definitely. And doing something when it comes to, if you have a business, if you have something that needs nurturing, or even if you're in a list building phase or a brand building phase, doing nothing is probably the worst thing you could do, because you're just you're gonna be irrelevant very quickly. I think giving your clientele that element of reassurance that you're still going forward, you're still doing stuff, you're still thinking about them, that massively helps as well, which I resonate with so much. Yeah, I recently happened upon the Stoic philosophy after listening to a podcast by Tim Ferriss, and I'm not sure whether you listened to that as well. Yeah, the Stoic way of thinking, and he touches on it quite a lot. And the moment you held that book up, that's why I got a bit excited with it, because I've been kind of going and reading into their philosophy quite a lot lately. The kind of being able to stern-faced stare rational thought in the face and go with what makes sense, as opposed to your irrational gut feeling. I think there's the chimp paradox that works alongside that as well. That element in that sabotaging part of your brain that says, no, that's not going to work, this is terrible, what are you doing? And I think the Stoic way moving forward is something that we could all learn a lot from. And I think stuff like that should be learned about in schools as well. I think it's crazy that history-wise we don't touch on philosophy early on in a broader sense, because it's all just, when it comes to history, it's Egyptians, Romans, us, done. And there's nothing else in there. There's no ways of thinking or philosophies in there, which is a bit sad until you get up to a more universal level.
Yeah, massively.
So have you put anything into place with it? Have you started putting things into place with it?
I've always been, from training and doing combat sports and whatever else, and especially the survival training, a lot of it comes down to being quite stoic anyway.
Yeah.
If this is just a bit of an abstract example, but if you know that you have to get through a certain training session, you take the emotion out of it, you just get it done. You turn yourself into a bit of a robot, and you just go until you can't go anymore. Or if you've only got X amount of food left, and you haven't got any more food, you're not going to eat loads and loads and start panic eating. I need to get it into my system. You need to calm down and think rationally. And I think I've been doing it for a long time, but this is more for me exploring how I've always felt, but understanding why, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I've always felt like a bit of a stoic person anyway. Sometimes actually to my detriment. Sometimes, I've been called emotionless in certain situations where I shouldn't have been, or, so. But yeah, it's interesting, because what I do as well, I don't know if you can see, but I fold the pages once they're done.
Yeah, nice.
Then I underline, so if I can find one, for every day, I write the date on it, so I know when I first read it. So if I read this over and over again over the years, I can see, I've read this one 4 times now or whatever. But I also underline the most poignant points for me in that kind of one page. So yeah, it's good. I really enjoy it.
No, you can't be doing that. Open it up. Let's have a poignant message. It could be anything. But what have we got?
Okay. This one I think is pretty interesting, because we were talking about social media and everything earlier. this one says about ignore the trappings of the success for the powerful, the rich, and the famous people, and look at what they're forced to trade in return, and look at what success has cost them. So I've, as an example for me, I've been like that. I've thought like that for a long time, that, you know, I've been offered jobs for further education and stuff that would mean that I was working ridiculous hours, and I would have got a big temporary pay jump, and I would have been, you know, screwed basically. Because the way that I've built my businesses since 2013 is that I have unlimited flexibility. As long as I've got a laptop or even a phone, then I can work from anywhere at any time. And that has always been about my family, and it will never change. Yeah. And, you know, I look at some of these people and I'm like, oh man, I wish I could do I wish I was asked to speak at a convention in America or whatever. And then I'm like, do I actually though? Like, probably not. So that's a bit of an abstract example, but yeah, that's one of them.
No, I can definitely relate to that. And I think I was reading some quotes the other day. I read a lot of stuff from Tony Robbins, Warren Buffett, Tim Ferriss and stuff, as I said earlier. But I think Warren Buffett said most people will never get rich like I become rich, because no one wants to get rich slowly.
Yeah.
And he said because everyone just wants it there now. They don't see the fact that he's up at 5 a.m, reads 7 newspapers every morning, and then analyses every single market that he's involved in. And, you know, they don't see that he still does that now. He still does that to this day. I mean, he's old as hell. I don't know how old he is, but he's old as hell. I mean, loving life. I think his best mate's Bill Gates, for God's sake. Like, you know, that's one kind of round that you wouldn't want to be involved in, is it? You know, we all have to chip in for the whip. No. You wouldn't want to be in that whip, Warren Buffett and Bill Gates whip. So yeah, you know, it is about weighing up what is important to you. And I think when you have a clear path or direction of the outcome of what you want, which is something I still struggle with to this day, because I get to somewhere and then I want something else. And until you get that kind of clear-cut vision, you're not quite sure what you want to trade up, but you know what you want to have time for, which is amazing. So, with what's going on with you right now, you seem to be in a pretty calm place when it comes to your business and stuff. What's it like being in that household right now? New baby, obviously you've got your daughter that's coming in and going at the same time. Is there a lot of stress? What's that like?
It's not too bad, to be honest. So obviously I've done this before, but my wife, this is her first child. So I kind of knew partially what to expect, but the thing that I'm trying to do, and again, this ties back to Stoicism, is whenever I start to react to a situation, I think, am I being reasonable? What is this? What does this look like from her perspective? Like from my wife's perspective, am I being a dick? Or am I just super tired? Do I need more coffee? Which is always yes. And then, you know, I just kind of, I'm trying to be as supportive as I can for my wife, because, you know, if I look at people like David Goggins, for example, or anyone in the military, any of the people out there right now doing whatever they're doing, that have to stay up for 32 hours at a time, or they've got triplets or whatever, like my situation could be so much worse. Like, we've got all the food we need. Both my businesses are still running. They're still growing. I can contact my family anytime I want. Like, it could be so much worse. Unbelievably so much worse. And I think about that, you know, pretty much on a daily basis. And, I honestly think it does come back to just managing emotions. Like, if I'm annoyed about something, then I'll go and take 5 minutes. I'll go and do some washing up or whatever, and then just forgive and forget, and just understand that everyone's stressed. Everyone's going to react, and it's not a long-term. You know, they're not making a comment about you in the long term, and they're just someone's just not had any sleep, or, you know, whatever. So,
you're practicing a lot of mindfulness there, really, which is, you know, I suppose the spiritual side of it as well, which would be bringing yourself into the present and looking at it from an outsider's point of view, which is, you know, to naturally do that, because it's something I've had to practice a lot. To naturally be able to do that is quite good going, I'd say, and it's something that I've struggled with. Especially, I'm very emotional, and unfortunately, I can fly off the handle quite a lot, which is something. As I'm getting older, I'm learning to manage a lot more, because they say that anger is just it's just fear that you show in public, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's something I do need to, and I have done. I have got a lot better at. But when you're at home around the people that know you for who you are, you express who you are a lot more. I've laughed a lot more since lockdown. I've cried a lot more since lockdown, and and I've flown off the handle. Actually, probably not so much because I cried more. So that's helped a lot more. So things like baby duty and stuff. What's that like at the moment?
Yeah, man.
Let's have a look here. Oh, I think I've got you.
So up until last night,
I've got you back.
are we back?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, lost you for a minute.
That's all right. So up until last night, we were doing split shifts. So my wife would have the baby from 9:30 in the evening until 4 a.m. And then I would wake up at 4 a.m. and then she'd sleep until like half 11, 12. And then, from 12 till 9, that's our time together with the baby.
Yeah.
So, and then where I'm home every day, I just put together a schedule of cleaning as well. So it's just like one or two things every day that I can do. So like today, for example, it's mop the kitchen floor, mop the bathroom, clean the bathroom, and then clean the rest of the kitchen. That's my things for today. That's an hour. And then if I just chip away every day and not do it for one day a week, then it's easy. It's just manageable little bite-sized things. And then again, with the baby, I'm just trying to help my wife sleep as much as possible. So she can feel rested and recovered, So it's I'll be honest, it's not been too bad. Touch wood.
That's amazing.
I'll tell you what, it was surreal because we were in the hospital. So she had a cesarean on the 17th of March, and we were in the hospital as it was all starting to kick off a little bit. Like it wasn't. There was the odd, so we were there for 5 days, just, while the baby was getting settled and everything. And they were still letting the partners in, but they weren't letting any other visitors in, which was a bit odd. Like that was, like a bit of a flag. And then there was one time when I was walking through Southend Hospital and it was like 11 o'clock at night and they were bringing someone through on a bed and then they were locking down each section of the hospitals and no one could come out. I got stuck in this bit for like half an hour because they were bringing through someone with COVID, coronavirus. Yeah. And then it started to get really like towards the Friday and Saturday when we got let out, it was really kind of odd because it was like a ghost town. You pull up to Southend Hospital normally, and the car parks are ran, there's a queue of 10 cars. This, you literally drive straight in, no cars, all the spaces were free. And then you go into the hospital and it was just dead. Excuse the pun. It was completely empty. And it was just insane. Yeah. So we got out just in time.
Wow. Yeah, that is perfect timing, I suppose. I've got a friend that works for the reception of A&E. Yeah. And they said, other than people thinking they've got coronavirus, no one's going to hospital. Like, people probably at home with like a broken arm. They're like, nah, it's all right. I'll just take it up. It's all right. Because they don't want to go in, which, I think that's probably going to have its own implications for people that are probably going to suffer with other illnesses that technically coronavirus would have killed them, but it wasn't. They were just too scared to go to hospital. But I'm glad everything was great for you guys, which is wonderful. And you got a new baby, which is absolutely brilliant. And yeah, I can imagine coming to the world at this time is going to be very different, but a lot, you're going to have a lot of time from both parents, which is amazing. That's now, awesome. Where do you? I think we're going to have a bit of a rocky road when it comes to getting back into gyms. As you can imagine, I'm watching every single other country and everything that everyone's doing, trying to get some bit of information, which they're holding all their cards close to their chest.
Yeah.
What how do you think we reintroduce this? You know, like how do you think, or what kind of ideas do you have going back and starting again? What would you be doing right now as a trainer, trying to get back in or do something with your clientele?
So I think, first of all, if I owned a gym, I would probably be looking at the lowest risk categories of people that come in to use my gym.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who, or maybe even from like a governmental perspective, I'd look at who could we allow out now that is at the lowest risk of death. Maybe not even necessarily of coronavirus, but who's got the lowest chance of dying if they do get it. And I think allowing those people to kind of ease their lockdown a bit sooner could work. But I also think that there's going to be a massive push towards like public, like effort from the public. So I think there's going to be a big push on maintaining this current level of hygiene, maintaining social distancing. Like I think the social distancing itself will last beyond the end of the year.
Yeah,
even if the lockdown is eased, you know.
Mm.
I don't think anyone's ever going to get really within like 2 meters again. They're just going to be walking around like fucking nervous all the time.
Mm.
But so I think if I was a trainer right now, I would be building contingency plans. I'd be like, right, this is, you know, how many weeks in are we now? Like 5, 6, I think.
Start of 7.
So, you know, you've had 7 weeks to start basically dealing with the trauma. So you've got over the traumatic thing. So right now I'll be like, right, I'm going to give myself, let's say 4 weeks, and I'm going to maximize as much as I can online, recurring revenue. So I'm going to start a membership site. I'm going to start doing, you know, all my content for YouTube. I'm going to have a strict plan of what I'm going to do for right now. And then once that was rolling to a point where you feel comfortable and that fear has gone away, I'd be like, right, we need to put in a plan for how we're going to maximize achieving your goals when it comes to reintegration or reopening, whatever you want to call it. And I think that's going to be the thing where most people fall down, is they're going to be so focused on right now and so full of fear that they forget, right, shit, everything's going to change again when this stops. In theory, everything. But I mean, I also know a lot of trainers that are saying right now, I'm not going to go back to doing one-to-one. I'm just going to keep it all online. But then you've got to wonder if the clients are going to deal with that very well, which I don't think they will. You know?
Well, this is it. You know, if you're on a ship and you're out at sea and the only thing available is water, you'll drink water.
Yeah.
Now, if you're the guy that's got all the water, you think this is wicked. I'm going to sell water wherever I go until you pull in a port and no one wants water. They want Fanta, they want Coca-Cola, they want Pepsi, they want beer, they want wine, and water is the only thing they'll have to wash it. Okay, and that's what I kind of see happening when it comes to the home online workouts. You think the majority of people who use a fitness facility, they go there for their mental health. 9 times out of 10, it's a church, isn't it? It's a place to go to clear your mind, to absolve your sins, as it were, which we do in an edible or drinkable form 9 times out of 10. Yeah, and we go there to get away. Now, trying to do it, I get it. You're doing it in your living room right now, which is great. You know, I get that because we don't have any other option. But people cannot wait. I'm getting messages left, right, and centre for both ABC and SAS in Southend and in Leon City. When can we come back? When can we come back? When can we come back? And the truth is, so many people will put their fitness and lifestyle goal on such a pedestal, saying that it means that much to them, but will they go and buy a sodding kettlebell? Absolutely not. Madness, isn't it? The amount of people that live for the gym who don't even own a dumbbell is amazing. Like, mental.
Unreal. See, I'll see if you can see it.
Let's have a little look. Gonna go for a walk.
Just into the back garden. I don't know if you can see my little...
Yeah.
So that's a pull-up and dip station. And I've got a series of kettlebells, resistance bands and everything. But with this, and then bodyweight and kettlebells, I can do anything, you know? And that, luckily, is how I've been training for the past, 9-10 months anyway. Just kettlebells and bodyweight. So, for me... it's quite odd actually how everything lined up so perfectly that as of it was November last year, I started working from home full time, and I would only go out and about for meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes to check up on the academy at the gym and whatever. But, you know, it kind of set me up perfectly for this. You know, we had the home routine. I already had my workspace, so you can see my desk and stuff behind me.
Yeah.
I was used to training at home. Everything was good. Like, so it was really, really odd that this transition hasn't been that. The main thing for me that's been most difficult has been having to think ahead of time, like, right, I need to go to the shops. I'm only going to go once this week, whereas I would go like every 2 days, you know, I'd go and get like a small shop or whatever.
Fresh.
And then the biggest thing, yeah. And the biggest thing is obviously my parents, my wife's parents haven't been able to hold the baby yet, which has been really tough, you know.
That's sad. That's sad.
Yeah. So I think what they'll do, and I hope no one quotes me on this, is that I reckon they're going to start easing the lockdown regulations within the next week.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to say, right, you can see X amount of family members now, or you can limit yourself to a very, very small circle.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think the financial impact and I think the impact just in general is going to go on for a long time. Like, I don't think the schools will go back until September now. I don't see how they stuff like that, you know.
And even still, how's education going to go back? Because if we're going to be social distancing, they were saying earlier today, if we were going to social distance the way that we want to social distance, the queue for a Boeing 747 would stretch over half a kilometre.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that's one plane. You imagine Heathrow would just be an absolute nightmare. They physically cannot open airports right now, and they're saying that the social distancing is going to happen until there's a vaccine, which could take 2 years. Which, that's crazy.
See, I think as well, like I think there's a lot of good that's come from this, and I think we're going to see. I'm hoping anyway. I really do hope, like for humanity's sake, that people are going to be more conscious of, you know, their not working jobs that they don't like and never seeing their family and spending money on shit they don't need to impress people they don't like. And just, to me, it kind of feels like it's a bit of an awakening for people. You know, they're really seeing what's important right now, and that's being with your loved ones and kind of doing what you enjoy and all that sort of stuff. And I think it's, you know, you look at the pollution in some of the countries, it's gone down by 33% in 3 weeks or whatever. And it's just insane, like the amount of good that it's doing as well. And I hope that more people do see that, you know. I hope that loads of people don't just go straight back to the norm, because I feel like this is going to be good for a lot of people, you know. Especially
for even exercise and being mindful of health, more importantly. They've also, you know, they've shown statistically that the majority of people that have succumbed to the coronavirus and paid the ultimate price have had underlying health issues. I think, you know, it's in like the 90th percentile for people in Italy, for instance, that the majority had an underlying health condition. And, you know, if that isn't a bit of an awakening that the young people that did pass away from this probably a lot of the cases could have been prevented, to look at your health, then I don't know what else is. So we're going to move over to the later part of this. Now we're going to have a little look at, you know, the advice that you could probably give yourself and the advice that you could probably give others. If you could go back in time, as it were. What kind of stuff would you be saying to yourself if you did have that kind of magical walkie-talkie that could go off next to your bed 6 weeks ago, just before your new son was born? What would you be saying to yourself, mate?
I probably would have bought stocks in hand sanitizer companies and toilet paper companies. As number one. I think the biggest thing would have been to be prepared for this to go on for a long time. But I'll be honest, a lot of the stuff that I was doing anyway has kind of prepared me for this situation. But I think one of the biggest things I would have put in place is more more awareness of how not having that family network around us would impact the amount of stress that we have. So for example, you know, it's been 6 weeks and we haven't had any time off. Like there's been not an hour, you know, where your grandmother can come around and watch the baby or whatever, or the mother, you know. So that's been a big impact. And I don't think we thought about that from the other perspective as well, like, you know, the mother and father-in-law or my parents not being able to see the baby. So I think other than that, to be honest, from a personal perspective, that was pretty much it. But then from a business perspective, I would have maneuvered faster. So I was saying to Steve, who's the tutor at Southend PT Academy, I think I said to him on the Friday, it was a week before the lockdown, I said, look, dude, you need to start shutting down the classes. Like, I know the learners aren't going to like it, but you need to start transitioning to online. And he didn't want to do it. So it took for the government to say, right, you're going into lockdown, for him to actually want to do it. And I said, look, you're putting yourself at risk, you're putting your family at risk, and all the students, like, just shut it all down, because it doesn't matter. Like, if you're dead, it doesn't matter at all, does it? Like,
no.
So I think we were very quick to maneuver, but we could have been faster. I think the other thing I probably would have done is, again, we already had stockpiles of food. I've got, like, it's a bit like doomsday preppers. Like, in my garage, I've got all my survival equipment. I've got hunting rifles. I've got sleeping bags, water purification tablets, all that stuff. But I would have had more essentials for the food and that we have on a regular basis anyway. Other than that, to be honest, man, it's not been that bad. Like, for me personally, I don't think. I think the biggest thing was family.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, I can resonate with that. So, Josh, where can people that are listening to this, say if there are any aspiring personal trainers, if there's people that are already personal trainers, need some advice, as well as people that probably just want to have a little chat about some of the things that you do, where can they find you, mate?
So the best one normally is on Facebook. I'm under just Josh Mullin. If they're a professional, like if they're a personal trainer, they can join the Facebook group UK PTs, which is, I think there's nearly 13,500 personal trainers in there now. And then my website is pttoolbox.co.uk. And that's where the majority of our stuff is actually happening now, because you're actually the first person to know this, but Southend PT Academy and PT Toolbox are now being merged into one business. So just under one thing, which will be PT Toolbox, and that's happening in the next, 2 to 3 weeks.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it just seems like the right time. So.
Well, yeah, I think you're definitely covering a lot more than just Southend, mate. So it's time to get rid of that name, and the PT Toolbox will go pretty big, if not global. So, guys, in the show notes, you will be able to find all of the links, as well as a short bio about what Josh does and bits and pieces he's done in the past. One of the main things, guys, thank you so much for taking time to watch this little episode. And if you have enjoyed it, please do press that share button and let other people know what you thought of it, as well as please just stick a comment in the comments box below, so we know what we've been up to and how you've read the situations that we've spoken about. Also, please keep it clean, and please keep it kind. Also, if you would like to talk to me, if you have a story, my goal at the moment, my absolute mission, is to speak to 100 people during the COVID-19 lockdown. Josh is number 40, so that is a big milestone that I've hit. So thank you very much for hitting that number for me, mate. And I've still got a long way to go. So please do get in contact. I'm after everyday people just to talk about your experiences. And if everyone can give me one piece of advice, that's 100 pieces of advice that we can help people with. So thank you so much again, Josh. And thank you for watching, guys. See you soon.
Thank you, mate.